What up? What up? What up? It is the Beast of the East podcast here on the Bleav Podcast Network, coming at you on the video side on y'all's conference network. What's up, guys? Glad you could make it. Joining me tonight, as of right now, from Bleav in Kentucky, it's Vinny Hardy, and normally the third amigo is Israel Troupe, but he will be coming later. He has his mother in town, so he is spending time with her as he should, and he will get to us when he gets to us. So when it's about that time, I will send him this link, and we will get rolling with our guy Israel. So, Vinny, I was on spring break last week. I guess you took a spring break as well. Glad to be back with you. How is everything going?
Well, I'm all right, but as far as the sports we talk about on this podcast, I'm licking wounds, and so gotta face the music, take my medicine, and hear everybody laughing and clowning and having the jokes. But that's what happens when you lose to St. Peter's in the first round, when you're a 2 seed and they're a 15 seed. So, we're still shocked. Everybody's still shocked about the whole thing Thursday night. So it's kind of where we are. I wish we could just flash back to last week when we were, talking about Georgia getting Mike White from Florida. That was the big news. But now,
Unfortunately, that's it. Unfortunately, Coach Cal on the hot seat. That's the big news. John, what's up? I saw that. No, I still got the male parts, and much to your disappointment, John. John last week on SEC After Dark claimed that I was recovering from gender recovery or gender reassignment surgery. That's what he said on the chat. But glad to have our associate producer John here. John, you're like that friend that has the warped sense of humor that sometimes you're not sure if you should laugh or not, but it's always funny. You're like that guy. Every crew has one. And you're that guy for us, and we're glad to have you. So we're also on social media. You can find us at Coach Burton 36, at Bleav in Kentucky, at Vinny Hardy, at TroupeStar 28, at Bleav Dawgs, on all social media platforms, at Coach Corey Burton on Instagram for me, at Vinny Hardy, of course, as well. So I'm back from Florida, and my allergies, they were on vacation. They came back as well, so that's not fun at all. But we are brought to you by Betonline.ag. That is fun. College basketball is taking center stage right now. The tournament, it's upon us. The Sweet 16 starts this week. If you're looking to wager this year, BetOnline is your number one spot for all your updated odds and info, along with great contests, including the bracket contest where you have a chance to take home the top prize. I don't know if it's still too late to sign up for that at this point, but if you haven't and you can, jump in. But in order to do that, you have to head over to the website or use the mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code Bleav to get you started. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and all of your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. Vinny, let's get right into it, shall we?
Do we have to?
We do,
don't we?
I know you don't want to. I know you are. I mean, it is brutal thing to talk about, losing in the first round again to probably the most embarrassing opponent that you've lost to in quite some time. But look on the bright side. You didn't set the SEC record for losses.
That's true.
I still got 2 of my Final Four teams intact so far. But my bracket is, I don't know, like it's shot, and somehow I'm still hanging around a lot of these bracket pools. Like I'm still tied for first in one of these bracket pools that I'm in. I don't know how. I lost Baylor. I'm still, let's see, Rave on Sports. I'm in 11th. That's probably going to continue to plummet as my teams get knocked out. That's not good. I did one with my family, and I'm in family. I'm in 3rd place. I don't know how that happened, but I'll take it. And then my school one, I'm in 8th place, and that'll continue to fall too. Of course, not many people have their champions left, so this could get interesting as we get down the stretch. So, but the biggest game, pour some salt and lemon juice on that fresh wound. Yeah, need to rag Jeb because I had Tennessee winning it all in the men's bracket. Yeah, it's not a good pick, John.
I see how John is.
Yeah, John. So let's start with I guess we'll start with the obvious one with Kentucky. Just explain that to me. I was down in Naples. We were out at dinner. I get a text. I get one of those text alerts that says, can Kentucky stave off an upset? I'm like, oh, okay. So I turned my eyes to it, and I'm like, this is a game I hadn't paid attention to because I haven't had to. But now I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, St. Peter's is going to do this. Like, what is going on with Kentucky? What went wrong in this game? A lot of people had them picked to go all the way.
Missed a lot of free throws. That would have helped. St. Peter's kind of just said we're going to be here for 40 minutes and we're not going anywhere. And Kentucky didn't really respond to that well. It was tied at halftime. Kentucky would get a 6-8 point lead. They couldn't impose their will and just dismiss them like you normally see a 2 seed do a 15 seed. You saw Gonzaga struggle for like 30 minutes against Georgia State, and everybody was thinking the same thing. Oh. And then Gonzaga would hit them with a 41-14 run, and the final score looked like what you would think. Even though they struggled for 30 minutes, the last 10 minutes, they smacked them down, and combine that with Georgia State kind of run out of gas, and then, Gonzaga flexed on them, and Kentucky never flexed and dismissed them and smacked them down. And it was a game. Kentucky got tight at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of were disorganized. And that's the coaching staff and the players, and a little bit of just, what do we do? A little panic. But Monty Jones like to say that little lemon booty got, kind of put in. A combination of all that, really. And,
it happens, man. It's just not – nobody's immune to that, You get tight down the stretch, even teams like Kentucky, but – I just thought that, some of those guys really just kind of – I felt like you kind of overlooked them at first. And then once you realized that this was a dogfight, I think the momentum got away from you. And you just couldn't get good things going down the stretch. And that really kind of hurt you. And I don't know that Calipari is used to being in that position and used to winning in that position. So, I mean, what's the consensus on Calipari and Cat Nation? Is it are they ready for him to go? Is it kind of, what do you see out of Calipari that leads you to still believe that he can get the job done?
There's always been a portion of the fan base that doesn't really care for him, or the older generation didn't like the one and dones and stuff like that. And whenever there be a rough patch or a losing streak, they start chirping. But when things are going good, they have to be quiet because you can't fuss when things are going well. But they're out and about. You have the 9-16 season last year. It was COVID and all that, but everybody had COVID. Worst season in the history of Kentucky basketball. And so his last call-in show, he was like, you get your jokes in now. We're going to be back. You're going to fix it. And pretty much through the regular season, they did. They swept Alabama, who won, was on top of the world last year, and looked like, you go to Kansas and beat them by 18. You beat North Carolina by 30. You beat Tennessee by almost 30. So it looks like through the regular season, all the flaws have kind of been fixed. You had the injuries come in. They never did really get right after Tata and Wheeler got injured.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of struggle against good defensive teams. Kellen Grady couldn't throw it in the ocean, had a big shooting slump. And defensively, they slipped a lot. Their defense just kind of left them in the last month. I couldn't wait to get another shot at Tennessee in the SEC tournament because they always struggle in Knoxville. I said, okay, let's get them in Tampa in a neutral court. And it was basically a carbon copy of what happened in Knoxville. They got locked down, scored 62 points, and so you're like, ugh. Score 107 against them in Lexington, and then in Knoxville in the SEC tournament combined, you score like 120 points. So so there were kind of flaws, and you could see maybe we're leaking oil looking back on it now. And then this regular season where you look like you've turned everything around from your 9-16 season ends in a first round loss in the tournament. So now people are kind of looking at Cal. It's a lot of side eye, and it's like, what you gonna do? The big thing today is he has his call-in show every Monday, and this one was pre-recorded, so he didn't take any calls, and he's pretty much been at all of them all year. And I'm like, dude, you got it. You can't duck and not take calls, even though you can't say anything that's gonna make anybody feel better. At least get on there for that hour, take your medicine, get your criticism. It was pre-recorded. He still said a lot of good stuff, but it was kind of a bad look. So basically, you have another good regular season next year. It's still going to be like, well, what you going to do in the tournament? And that's basically not what it is. It's, so who's leaving, who's staying, who's going, transfer portal, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But it's all about this time next year. Can we get past first round? So I hate to say that, but that's where it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of this whole Kentucky thing because, again, you just kind of look at the way the season unfolded, and it was world beaters one week, and I think that's a lot of that. And I've said this about the one and dones, and this has been my biggest thing about all the one and dones, is that you get these less than consistent performances where you're great one game, you can't hit the ocean, as you said, in another game, your defense, you just really struggle in defensive end, because I think it comes with communication. And some of these more veteran teams, like St. Peter's, those are probably all fifth-year seniors that have played together since birth. I think if you go to a school like St. Peter's to play basketball, you've probably been teammates for quite some time. And those guys play probably really well together, and they can talk, communicate, things like that. And it almost in turn neutralizes a team like Kentucky where they're not in sync. There's holes all over the place, and it's a bunch of people at times running around in the same jersey, not necessarily a team. And so when you can take advantage of that, that's great. And where a lot of these teams in March Madness, the ones that can take advantage of that usually end up with these big upsets. The ones that can't, a lot of times can't overcome the talent gap because there's a player or two that just go off and are unstoppable no matter what. Kentucky didn't have that type of performance in this particular matchup, and that was kind of the difference.
And this, unlike a lot of Cal,
and they won again. They're in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, they sure are. They sure are. The NCAA put Murray in the bracket because everybody thought it'd be Kentucky and Murray State, which another in-state matchup, and because they've never played each other, because Kentucky won't go to Murray wants a home and home, and so they've been arguing about that. But this Kentucky team, it wasn't experienced together, but it did have older guys. Sheboy transferred in, Kellen Grady transferred in from Davidson, Mintz was a transfer, so it wasn't all freshman dominated, but together they hadn't played together a lot, but it was older guys, and it's still, get to tournament time and they just kind of fell apart at the end, and fell apart down the stretch leading up to the SEC tournament and the big dance. The Vanderbilt game in the SEC tournament, they won it, but it was kind of ragged, and Vandy played them closer than you think they should. Yeah, they're scrappy and all this, but had a little more trouble with them than you should have. Lost to Tennessee again, so you lost 2 out of 3 to them. So you hit the SEC tournament. That's how you entered into the SEC tournament. Coming off that loss to Tennessee, just weren't able to flip the switch and get back to what they were in January and February. Just couldn't get it back. They were 5-4, I think, in their last 9 games, and it just you're just not coming in with the kind of momentum you want to have.
No, just couldn't do it. So some other notable games. One of the games from Saturday, a second round matchup between North Carolina and Baylor. Baylor coming in as defending national champions. North Carolina goes up 25.
Yes.
They're up 25 with 10 minutes to go. This whole fracas, I guess you call it. I don't know what you want to call it, but this whole ordeal. Rally. Yeah, this whole ordeal breaks out. Dude gets ejected for a wild elbow.
Yeah.
You get Caleb Love fouling out, and they blew a 25-point lead to take the game into overtime. But what ended up happening for North Carolina is Baylor all of a sudden, they played like Auburn did in the final minute of the Iron Bowl. They went more conservative. They started playing half-court defense again. North Carolina had no answer for the full-court press.
Yeah.
North Carolina could not run their offense. They could not get the ball across half court. I mean, they were doing things like getting a 5-second violation out of a timeout. They were turning the ball over. I mean, that's the only way you can blow a 25-point lead in that amount of time. But Baylor started fouling out. RJ Davis had a career-high 30 points. Andrew Baycott had 15, 16 boards. He had 3 block shots. I mean, the dude was just a menace on the glass. I guess when half of Baylor's team fouled out and they couldn't hit the ocean from a rowboat in overtime, they just kept feeding Baycott down there, and they ended up winning and ended up solidifying one of the bigger upsets of the tournament, I guess, because it's the defending champions. And I think if Baylor, this game could be a possible springboard, Vinny, for North Carolina. This game definitely would have been a springboard for Baylor if they'd have finished off that 25-point deficit rally. I think that could have been a springboard for them to win it all again and repeat. But for North Carolina, I mean, am I crazy to think that this is the beginning of a really nice run for the Tar Heels?
It could be. The Manic kid that got ejected, he was killing them. He had like 26 when he got tossed with that elbow. This North Carolina team barely made the tournament. They beat Duke at the end of the regular season. I think that's probably the win that maybe got them into the tournament. And it's all about getting hot at the right time. You beat Duke in the regular season. You knock out the defending champs. And we're up 25 on Baylor, which that's they're confident and rolling. Withstood that comeback, like you said. Baylor quit trapping and pressing. They got past the champs. They're playing great. They could, they're in the Sweet 16. Nobody expected this from them. So, it's house money. The rest, I know it's North Carolina, but this team is house money this year.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't supposed to be the best North Carolina team that they've ever had.
Again, Kentucky beat them by 28. That's one of the, there's a neutral court, but Kentucky destroyed them earlier in the season, and now it's we've seen it in every sport. Eli Manning barely gets into the playoffs as a wild card. They win the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Royals were 3 or 4 games above 500. Had to win a play-in game, end up, winning the World Series. You get in survival mode before the postseason even starts, and you're already, in, ride or die mode, and everybody else is trying to get into it, and you just, you just kind of roll through it, and that's kind of what North Carolina's doing. They had to fight and claw to even be there, and now they're rolling.
That's right. So. Speaking of not rolling is Auburn. They came rolling into the second round. They met up with the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes blew their doors off 79-61 to get into the Sweet 16. They match up with Iowa State, who had a nice win over Wisconsin. They had some foul trouble as well.
Wisconsin was playing in Milwaukee and got punked. and still lost. So I'm just
That's
saying.
That's less than ideal.
They got the Duke treatment. Duke used to always start out in Greensboro every year. Wisconsin playing in Milwaukee and still got sent home.
So what happened with Auburn? Like what led to them? Like KD Johnson just fell apart, and Miami just ran roughshod of the 10th seeded Hurricanes.
I think it was a case of peaking too soon. You know, they were number 1 in the country. What, 2 or 3 months ago? Got to number 1, and then they barely beat Georgia the next game, or
yeah, they
barely
struggled.
beat Missouri right after they got number 1. I think they peaked too soon. They won the SEC regular season, got the trophy, and then what happened? Got smoked by Texas A&M in the SEC tournament, and so they hit the tournament, you know, kind of leaking oil like Kentucky did, and
they limped in.
Yeah.
Isaiah Wong had 21 points for the Canes. That was big.
And you said it. The Auburn guards, you know, Johnson and Wendell Green transferred from Eastern Kentucky. A lot of times they don't give Jabari the ball when, you know, until they're losing, and then they want him to kind of save them and take over.
Yeah,
you know, the guards kind of shot him out of the game. What KD was 0 for whatever against Texas A&M, 0-14.
They were
no assist. I mean,
they shot below 30%. They had a 30-point, or they shot below 40%. They were 30.4% from the field. Against Miami. They were ice cold down the stretch. I mean, they couldn't do anything right. They were turning the ball over. They couldn't play defense. There was a few passes that they just threw it away, and then Miami had easy dunks. I mean, it's Kessler picked up 2 early fouls. He was in foul trouble. He spent a lot of time on the pine. I mean, if it could have went wrong for Auburn, it did. And people are kind of giving Bruce Pearl the same kind of treatment they're giving Coach Cal, and then the Bama fans are doing the same with Nate Oates after they get bounced in the first round. For Alabama fans, I don't think that's right. We'll talk about that on SEC After Dark, because I do have that'll be fun to talk with Jake about. But I just don't think that's fair for Alabama. Like I said, we'll get more into that. But for Auburn, I don't know that it's fair yet either. I think for Kentucky, you know, Coach Cal's a great recruiter, great collector of talent. I just question his development some. Like, what's going on between getting those guys on campus, and why can't they do something with these number 1 classes? That remains to be seen. He's had probably the most on paper out of all those guys, or the biggest sample size, I guess I should say. But for Auburn, I've just, you can question it after seeing that performance. It's just like, what? But then again, you saw it coming. They gave you hints that they weren't ready, that they could fall apart. You know, you put a little pressure on them, and here they go. And that's what Miami did. That's what Texas A&M did.
Yeah, so we had a strong. The SEC had a strong year in basketball, but at the same time,
strong regular season. But who cares about that, right?
At the same time, they're gonna give off these overrated type vibes. I mean, you look at Tennessee beat Arizona regular season. You know, Kentucky drilled Kansas and North Carolina, but all this stuff in the tournament where we were saying you only should have got more than 16. Texas A&M should have made it. Yep. And now Arkansas is the only team that made it to the second weekend. So, and
they're left matching up with Gonzaga, and I really like that matchup for Arkansas. I think they can run Gonzaga.
Yeah, Memphis had them. Memphis had Gonzaga beat, and just couldn't finish them off.
Let it slip away. I think it's going to be tough. I think Texas Tech is going to be a tough out in the Elite Eight as well. I've got them beating Duke. Well, I had them beating Michigan State in the Elite Eight, but
you had Michigan State beating Duke.
Yeah, I had Michigan State beating Duke, and then Texas Tech beating Michigan State to go to the Elite Eight.
It was right there for Michigan State.
It was.
Michigan State and Memphis both. I mean, they had it.
I know they did. They did. They did. Arizona, who got crushed by Tennessee earlier during the regular season, they're still alive. I'm telling you, watch out for the Houston Cougars. I don't know if they watched some Phi Slamma-Jamma highlights before this. They must have because they were Phi Slamma-Jamma against Illinois. Had some highlights there. Michigan won a tough fought battle over Tennessee.
Thank you, Michigan. Thank you. That made me feel a whole lot better about my situation once the Big Orange went out. I know they made it one round further, but Rick Barnes didn't make it to the second weekend again.
Yep.
Tennessee finally got him an SEC tournament title, first time since '79.
Baby steps, Vinny. Baby steps.
Still no Final Fours though, ever.
So but it wouldn't have mattered. You have to. I mean, either one of those teams would have had to play against Villanova. I got Villanova as my national champion, national runner-up. They're in the national championship game.
They smoked Tennessee early in the season too.
I think if Arkansas can make a run to the Final Four and Villanova make a run to the championship game, I have a chance. It's possible. I have a chance. But Villanova is a physical basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way they play. They're physical on defense. They just I like it.
And they've been together for years too.
That's one of those programs. It's not a transient program.
Now we give Jay Wright his props. He's won a couple titles. But he's had some first round flameouts too. If the years that they don't win a title, he's went out in the first round more than you think.
If you do this long enough, you're going to have some first round flameouts. I mean, come on.
Kay's got Lamar and Mercer and Lehigh. Everybody,
I mean, everybody's got their warts, man.
It's all fun and games till it's your team.
Yeah, everybody's got their warts, but just don't make a trend out of it. And I think a lot of people are just afraid that Coach Cal is going to make a trend out of this because he was 9-16 last year. He's gotten bounced early a lot lately, and Kentucky's not supposed to do that. But again, I don't know. It's a weird time for him. So, which one of these Sweet 16 matchups do you like the most? I like Arizona Houston. I'll go ahead and tell you that. That's going to be a phenomenal matchup.
Texas Tech in the South bracket, because I think Texas Tech can put an end to the Devils' season.
I think the Devils have been looking, except for against Cal State Fullerton, they've been looking to get knocked out. They've been looking for it, and Texas Tech I think is going to be the team that gets them. Texas Tech is electric, man.
And they will lock you down. They choke teams out, defensive end.
Very, very long too. I mean, I like that. I want to see what Villanova. I want to see if Jay Wright can get Juwan Howard to punch him. and I'm really rooting for the fighting. Didn't Rick Pitino start at Providence?
Yeah. He went to the Final Four with Billy Donovan was playing for him. Billy Donovan was a point guard in like 87, 88. I think 87.
Requiem for the Big East or whatever.
North Carolina, UCLA should be fun.
I hope Providence can beat the hell out of Kansas. I hate Kansas because they always screw me in the bracket. When I don't pick them, they screw me. When I pick them to go far, they screw me. I don't like it. Iowa State and Miami is going to be an interesting one. I think Miami can get themselves in the Elite Eight, matched up against Miami has a chance to win the Midwest bracket.
They really could.
I mean, why not? I mean, the way they're playing, I don't see Providence matching up with them. I mean, Iowa State has a chance, but if Iowa State can't beat them, I don't think Kansas can. I mean, Kansas, yes, they're a number 1 seed, but they're Kansas, and it's March.
Mm-hmm. I pick Chaos. I pick Providence to come out of there in one of my brackets because it sounds crazy, and we'll look for ways to analyze this and analyze that. But at the end of the day, pretty much anything is possible, and we're seeing that. And I'm like, Providence, I'm picking them to beat Kansas and go to a Final Four, which is it's weird, but it could happen.
Yeah. Now, John, going back to your comment about the Miami Auburn game, yes, they were going crazy, man. They were trying different things, and They were getting adventurous, and they were just. I mean, it looked like, like when you're at the Y, and you just got a team that's just way better than the other team. Just because one group called next, they got on there and they were like the sacrificial lambs. So they get skunked 11-0 and get run off the court. That's kind of what Miami was doing to Auburn in the second half.
Yeah, it got out of hand.
Yeah.
Sure
LSU girls just lost to Ohio State by double digits. Yeah, Georgia's women got curb stomped by Iowa State, had a horrendous first half.
Kentucky went out in the first round to Princeton.
Yeah.
LSU barely beat Jackson State in the first round.
Howard.
Was it?
Was it Howard? I thought it was Howard.
Jackson State gave them all they wanted.
Yeah,
okay. They had to hit a couple threes late to even get to play Ohio State.
So Ohio State just finished them off, really.
Yeah.
Lifetime contracts might be a bad idea. I mean, if you're Coach K, you deserved one. I mean, for what he did for Duke.
He's talking about Cal. He's talking about Cal Perry, I think.
Lifetime. Did they give him a lifetime contract?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It was Jackson State.
UCLA was trying to make a run at him, and so they gave him a lifetime deal a couple years ago, and so a lot of people want to point to that he's kind of gotten complacent since then. A lot of people want to say since Rick Pitino left Louisville, the edge to really be super competitive, he's kind of sat on his laurels a little bit since then. They point at little different things to see these are fans and media talking about trying to pinpoint.
No, it's just a more competitive deal. I mean, the fact that St. Peter's was able to beat you guys just tells you what you need to know about college basketball, and they might rope me back in on that actually. So thank you, Kentucky, for possibly roping me back in for next season, because basketball is more competitive than it ever has been.
Yeah, because we're starting to see this more and more. Mm-hmm. We saw 16 finally beat a 1 when Virginia got knocked out. These mid majors and little schools they're kind of closing the gap a little bit. And I mean, yes, Kentucky crapped the bed, but St. Peter's, I mean, he had them playing good. He had them, they were backdooring Kentucky to death. Every time they needed a clutch three, they ran a set play and got an open three, and they hit the open three. So they're well coached, and they weren't scared of the moment.
Right? No, they weren't. They
weren't
indeed.
City, New Jersey, boy. I mean, everybody knows about them.
What do they have to be scared about? I mean, they're 15 seed and they're playing Kentucky. What do they have to lose?
And Jack Pilgrim for KSR, Kentucky Sports Radio, he went up there and watched the open practices up in Indy, and he watched all the teams. He watched Kentucky, he watched Murray State. Oh, he said when St. Peter's got out on the court, they looked awful. Everybody was all small, 6'6", 6'7". Mm-hmm. They were fumbling the ball out around, kicking the ball off their knee, missing shots. Mm-hmm. Looked terrible in the open practice. And he's like, Kentucky's gonna beat these boys by 40. These dudes don't even look like they know what a court is. And then you get to the game the next day, and the lights came on, and St. Peter's did too.
That's right. They did. So, what can you do, man? So, the tournament is just cranking up, man. And we could sit here and break down every single matchup, but we're not going to do that. Just keep watching. I'm rooting for Arkansas. Go Woo Pig Suey.
Yeah.
Woo Pig. Let's get it done.
So their only hope.
That's their only hope. So there was a couple hires made in college basketball. Actually, 3 hires made now. If you include LSU today. I know, John, you're excited about that.
You LSU fan?
Yep, he is. Hey, we got some Iraqi people. Are y'all from Iraq? No, we're not. But I'm glad you have pride in Iraq. They're Iraq guy. Mark Golden got hired at Florida. Yeah. Mike White from Florida got hired at Georgia. And Matt McMahon from Murray State has now signed on down at LSU. Of those 3 hires, to me, I think LSU did the best. I have no idea about Florida. I've heard it's a really good hire. I don't know much about him. But the golden era does start in Florida. And then Mike White, which if you really look at where Georgia was as a program, they can only go up. So for that reason, it's a great hire. For that reason, it just might be a default home run because he's not Tom Crean. And I like the way Florida played. I know they were ready to run him out of town, which I think they're ready to run him out of town because he's not Billy Donovan.
It's hard to follow the dude, man. It's hard to. Golden's gonna have it easier just from that standpoint alone. He's the guy that followed the guy, and what White had the first couple of years was good, but he just never could really get it going.
He would have made 5 straight tournaments had the one not gotten canceled for COVID. So,
but they're just so into football. They're just so in. They was in about basketball when Billy Donovan was winning back-to-back titles. So, I mean, as far as that goes, and Joakim Noah and them won another title. Okay, whatever. Naming the court after Billy. So, it was hard for him. It's hard to be the guy that follows the guy. Like, whoever, I know y'all don't want to talk about it. Whoever follows Kirby, it's going to be a hard gig for that dude. To be the guy that follows the guy. It's going to be tough. So
whoever follows Saban at this point at Kentucky, whoever follows Mark Stoops, best coach on campus.
Yeah,
I had to get that one in there. But I mean, going to Georgia's hire. First of all, he was the first chronologically in the order of these 3. When that news broke, I'm not going to lie. I had no idea. I did not have Mike White on my bingo card. I thought, and I said it in our show on Bleav Dogs. I said it to you and Israel on right here on Beast of the East at the time. It was going to be I thought it was going to be Jonas Hayes. I even thought it was going to be Matt McMahon. I thought it was going to be McMahon from Murray State. I heard he was in the mix. I thought it was going to be something along those lines, but it wasn't. It was Mike White, and I was kind of like, when I first saw it, I was like, well, Florida was trying to get rid of him. What's up with this dude? But, then you watch a little bit and realize that you look at his resume. He went to several, he had a team that had no business doing any postseason deal, had them in the NIT at Louisiana Tech, and then comes to Florida, immediately gets them into the tournament, which could be just him riding off of Billy Donovan's recruits, maybe. And I don't know, whatever the case may be, he had those guys playing at a high level. You still have to coach them, and you still have to win the games, no matter who you have. I mean, you could give Kentucky's roster to, some slappy high school guy from Vermont, and sorry, Vermont. And they're not gonna win. Just because you have superior talent doesn't mean you're necessarily going to win. You still have to coach them and go. So, I think when you look at it, for the pure sake of, I think his in-game management is going to be a lot better than Tom Crean, which is something we desperately need. I think his recruiting in the Atlanta area is going to be much better, much improved. For those 2 factors, I think it's a home run for Georgia. I think he's going to do well because we're at the bottom, and that's it.
No. So I hope that's the case.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Not as a Kentucky fan. Nobody wants Georgia to be good at everything.
That's right. So, it's good that y'all are optimistic about it, because I saw that and I was like, what is really what? So,
I mean, for us, that's a great hire. I think if we were in a different spot, I don't think it's necessarily a splash per se.
Right. He's not a splashy type dude.
He's not. But he's what we need.
Kind of even keeled, and
he's what we need.
I'll get to play Florida. He gets to play his old team, so he'll have they'll have that circled on his calendar, and so they will too. But that'll be interesting on the. It's just what are y'all gonna call that? The world's largest what? I mean, y'all got to come up with something.
The world's
I can't think of anything, but y'all, Florida's and Georgians, Floridians
the
and
world's
Georgians.
most mediocre indoor.
Yes.
Because like nobody goes to those games.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to see Georgia basketball, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But the world.
Yeah, y'all gotta come up with something. I mean,
yeah, we do. You're right.
Gators coach went to Georgia. I know it's basketball and it ain't the cocktail party and all that, but y'all Floridians and Georgians got to come up with some kind of little catchy. Because sometimes you might play twice a year in the regular season. You definitely at least play once, depending on how they do the schedule.
Yeah,
and maybe a possible meeting in the SEC tournament. So, got to get some kind of catchy, jinglish nickname for that, because this might make the rivalry. This might.
I don't think we need help to make the rivalry any more intense. That's for sure. But I tell you what's going to happen. I'll tell you what is intense. I need to tell you about Athletic Greens before we move on. This could be the world's largest athletic greens rivalry. I don't know. Tons of people take multivitamins. It's important to choose one that is top quality. With one delicious scoop of athletic greens in Israel, he actually ordered them, and he can tell us about them. Maybe if he's available tonight, he can tell us about them. But you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to start your day right. Their special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your recovery, your focus, and, of course, that old arch nemesis called aging. It's also lifestyle-friendly, fits a whole range of diets. There's only 1 gram of sugar and no chemicals or artificial anything. So reclaim your health, arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. That's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a 1 free year of supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Bleav. That's BLEAV. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Bleav. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Athletic Greens, take ownership of your health. I still got to get mine. I still got to get my Athletic Greens.
I'm looking it up right now.
John, yes, we do have. Yep, there you go. Look it up. John, yes, we do have a basketball team. They play. I don't know. There might be club. I don't know. Our basketball team is kind of the equivalent of Vanderbilt's football team. Kind of where we're at right now. Doesn't matter who we hire. They could have hired me. It doesn't matter. It probably would have been an upgrade. And I'm not very good at basketball. Basketball's not my thing. So, the Golden Era, like what is like? Let's do some research on him. What does he bring to Florida? Like why are Florida fans? Well, some Florida fans just aren't happy with anything. Let's just be honest about that. But Jake Crane called it a sneaky good hire. I think it's gotten a really good feedback from all the important people. What do you think, Vinny?
Todd Golden. Where did he?
I called him Mike Golden or Mark Golden, didn't I? Todd Golden.
Yeah.
Todd from San Francisco. From San Francisco.
An assistant at Auburn for 3 years before he went to San Francisco. So he's familiar with the SEC.
Yep.
He's young, 36 years old.
Yep.
20th
head coach. Led the Dons. That's a cool nickname, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco Dons.
Yeah.
You left the Dons for the Gators? Come on now.
Bill Russell's alma mater. 57-36 overall. He was the.
Do some research. I might have to watch some Dons basketball just to figure out this guy.
Yeah. So he's out there. Playing. They play Gonzaga, right? That's the West Coast Conference. Is that where he's at?
Yeah.
They play Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Portland, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So
he led them to at least 20 wins in all seasons except for that shortened one that got canceled.
And he'll be going up against McMahon at LSU. McMahon and Golden both play each other, and both losing this tournament and both jump to the SEC. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting as well.
That will be fun. He played at St. Mary's, so that's good. So he earned a business administration degree. What that matters, I don't know. But he married the former Megan York, who was a 4-year volleyball standout at St. Mary's as well. She was co-freshman of the year. Wow. So he's got an athletic pedigree in his family. Mm-hmm. He knows talent. But no, he's had at least 20 win seasons, in all but one. He's been competitive again, 57-36 and what in basketball terms, relatively speaking, is a very tough conference, very competitive conference. So it's not like it's a conference of Gonzaga and then like everybody else. I mean, you have some good schools there, but to me, I think it's a good hire. I think he's somebody that brings a lot of energy. Does he know the area well enough to recruit? Does it matter in basketball? Is it easier to recruit nationally as a basketball coach, especially if you're at a brand like Florida? What do you think?
Maybe it should be. And like he was at Auburn for it's been 2014 to 16 as an assistant. So
seasons. I mean, is that enough?
Him being, he's American Israeli. He might bring some international talent in or have some connections there with his background that we don't even bring in some guys we don't even know or on the radar as far as that goes. He might. He's got a lot of different ways he can do it. First year coach in basketball and football. Everybody's going to be watching, Billy Napier more than him, so that might give him time to just kind of.
And they're often running in spring practice, by the way. So
yeah. So he surely he's it's not like he doesn't know anything about the SEC as far as that goes.
Yeah,
and like you said, internationally too. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what he does and how he plays his cards.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
I don't know a lot about him, but
I mean, so a lot of these mid-major guys you don't know much about. I mean, you don't know what they're going to be like when they hit that big stage. But I think if he's got their team competitive in a good conference, I think if he's got them in the NCAA tournament, I think it's a good start. I think it's somebody that can do something with the resources that you're going to have in Gainesville, with the support that you're going to have in Gainesville, hopefully. Hopefully the fans will jump on board with him. They have no reason not to, but I think he's going to bring an interesting twist. I think his energy is going to be the biggest thing. His youthful energy and his ability to relate to more than just one or two cultures. I mean, he's a worldwide guy. I mean, like you said, you brought up the point that he could possibly get some international guys. I don't know. He may not know anybody overseas. I don't know that, but
he just better beat Mike White. What he better do.
Yeah, just beat Mike White and Rick Barnes and whoever South Carolina decides to hire, or go beat Coach Cal and all is well.
He can't be losing. He can't be losing to Georgia. That's the first thing he got to get squared away. Y'all don't want to hear that, but he can't let the old coach come in and be because White's in his first year at Georgia.
It doesn't matter who Georgia hired; they can't lose to him. But especially now that Mike White is the coach, you cannot let Mike White come down and kick your butt.
You can't let White walk into the old dome and just run y'all off the court. You can't worry about everything else, but first and foremost, you guys to be beating Georgia, Todd Golden.
Yep. That's your first order of business. Whether you want to go get the next Tony Kukoc or you want to go get the next Larry Bird from French Lick, Indiana. Doesn't matter where you get them from. Beat Georgia. That's number one, right?
Yep.
What about for LSU for McMahon? What is his deal? Like, I guess it's get on top of the West, right? It's overtake Auburn. That's your target right now. I mean, regardless of whether they just got their got their butts handed to them in the second round there by Miami. They are still the target in that division. Alabama is still a target in that division. A&M is a much improving basketball team as well. You got a very competitive conference there. I don't know what Ole Miss has got. Mississippi State's pretty good, not great.
Yeah, both of them.
And Arkansas at the end of this whole thing, they might actually be the target. As of right now, it's still Auburn because they're the regular season SEC champs.
Yep.
But Arkansas is proving to be better in the postseason right now. So those are your targets for LSU. And LSU had a pretty good team coming down the stretch. It's not that they didn't fire Will Wade for underachieving. Right. And John will tell you, they fired Will Wade because he's a terrible human being.
So what kind of slaps and punishment is McMahon going to be walking into that should have gotten Will Wade fired a long time ago? How he kept his job up until the other day is beyond me. But
McMahon is going to walk into something, but he's used to that kind of thing. Like he's gonna inherit a mid-major team.
Yeah, he knows what he's signing up for. So.
I mean, he knows it. He knows what he's doing. I mean, and I think LSU brass and LSU fans will be patient with that. They know he's good. They know he coached John Moran, when he first came into Murray State, barely a qualifier academically, and looked like he couldn't play basketball. Now he's in the NBA as one of the best players. Has Memphis as a 2 seed in the NBA. So, what is he going to do? I don't know. He's going to get creative. I mean, in basketball, the great thing about it is you only need a few people, right? You only need a few committed people, and you can get it done.
You can turn it around quicker. Sure can.
Yep. So I think it's a great hire. I think he's somebody that's he's been a fixture in the NCAA tournament as much as you can be as Murray State.
Yep.
I think he's had some good talent through there. Was it like 6 in a row?
Yeah, I think so.
6 in a row tournaments or something like that. That he's and gotten past the first round in just about all of those, which is Murray State. That's not really an easy thing to do. So I like it. Not to be the guy that likes every single hire, but I like this one a lot. This is who I wanted at Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And even though I'm still with you, I still kind of keep it in divisions, even though basketball really ain't. Like you just kind of lump them all together now.
Kind of like a single table, right?
Still, yeah. And they put 18 games together, but it's gotten stronger. Mississippi State, they parted ways with Howland, so a lot of these teams are putting more pressure. The money's going up, the pressure's going up, even in basketball, at places where Mississippi State's more known for their baseball, but but their basketball too. It's not like they're just watching basketball to wait for spring practice to start. In Starkville now, it's
what Georgia does.
Yeah. Because Howland was a dude that took UCLA to Final Fours and was at Pittsburgh and had a good run too. So even they're trying to step up, and so pressure is building everywhere. Everybody's trying
this conference is drastically improving in basketball. Yeah. They've got to do it in March now from this point forward, but it's a conference that 3 years ago was completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
So we got to take that into consideration.
Everybody made better hires. Even Avery Johnson didn't stick, but you brought him in. That's a big name from the NBA for years, and won titles with the Spurs. He was there at Alabama, Howland at Mississippi State, Bruce Pearl to Auburn. It was a whole, shot in the arm from a coaching standpoint. And even though some of them have moved on, and they're still trying to maintain and bring in good coaches. Even these mid-major guys have done some stuff, has some accomplishments, and shouldn't be in over their head coming in and taking these new jobs.
Right, exactly. So I like it. I think there's some good hires. South Carolina, you're up next as far as conference goes. So I'm a big fan of it. Before we get out of here, Vinny, Matt Ryan, a little NFL news. Matt Ryan, longtime Falcons quarterback, got traded to the Colts. Yes, John, we'll see you Wednesday. Got traded to the Colts for a 3rd-round pick. Do you like it?
I mean, as far as the Colts, it's what you had Rivers, then you had Wentz, now you have Ryan. Who's the next veteran that's going to go there after Ryan? It's on the back 9 of his career. I was trying to think of that today. I was trying to go through guys. So like, okay, after Ryan goes there for a year or two,
there's not really any. Like after Ryan retires, it's like it gets significantly younger.
Yeah, I'm like, well, will Matthew Stafford be in that boat then? But
I guess Matthew Stafford maybe. Aaron Rodgers goes to the Colts next year.
So I'm just trying to do. That's kind of the way they've been trending.
Yeah.
The 3rd-round pick to the Falcons. Okay. But I don't know. I guess that's a better spot for Ryan than he was with in Atlanta. You had a team. He's going to a playoff team. They should have made the playoffs last year. All you got to do is beat Jacksonville, and Carson Wentz couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, but yet, which I still get glee from that because as a Cowboys fan, he came in with the Eagles, and in there he's a journeyman now. Even though he's a highly paid, he's bouncing around the league now. He went from you're that dude to you're just getting shuffled around here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the Colts fans think. I don't know. Are you
Colts fans are juiced
like
up,
it?
man?
They like it, do they?
They love it, man. I like it because Matt Ryan finally gets a great running back. He finally gets an offensive line that's worth a damn. Gets a defense that's going to help you out some. I think he finally gets a lot of. I mean, yeah, they had Julio. Yeah, they had Calvin Ridley. Yeah, they had Mohamed Sanu. But I mean, like they didn't have the total team. They got up on New England, but they didn't have the depth to maintain that victory. And we all know what happened. 28-3. Go ahead. But I like it. I like it for Matt Ryan. I think it's a good way for him to end his career. I don't like it, as a partial Titans fan. I don't like that because you have to. That's your standard now, and now Ryan Tannehill instantly becomes the at best second best quarterback in the conference or in the division, maybe 3rd depending on Trevor Lawrence, possibly the worst if Davis Mills has a big year for Houston. So,
wow,
it's kind of where you are. There's you have Matt Ryan. And then you have 3 wild cards, really, because you don't know. I mean, Tannehill, you really don't know what he's going to bring.
But y'all hitched your wagon to him, Titans fans.
Titans fans did. I'm a partial Titans fan because I live here. I'm a Falcons fan because I grew up there, and that's just kind of what I was. So
when the Colts come to town, you gonna go watch?
I might have to. Especially if they sign Julio too. I might have to.
I got asked too on vacation. Did you run into a lot of Gators fans, and were you wearing all your Georgia gear and just flexing and just rubbing it in on them the whole time?
I was flexing, but no. In Naples, Florida, it's a lot of Yankees.
Okay.
It's a lot of people that don't care anything about football whatsoever.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a lot. It's a very international place, more so than you would think. So, needless to say, they give they give nothing about that.
Okay.
So,
well. Get them next time.
You know what they say about Florida? The further south you go, the further north you get.
That's right.
So, if I wore Red Sox gear, that probably would have had more of an impact.
That's true. Have you ever Googled your birthday and put Florida Man to it and seen whatever the headline is?
Let's see. I
always
have before.
It's gonna be wild every time. Put your
September-
birthday, Florida Man.
September 8th, Florida Man. It's first result.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Rampaging camel kills 2 men at a Tennessee farm.
It's always
Florida man fed up with potholes plants banana tree in a road.
It's always something ridiculous.
A Hawthorne man is trying to boost. Oh, that's kind of uplifting, actually. The first result was pretty good. Florida man fatally shoots mom after he lost it.
Oh,
over orange juice.
Yeah, it's just another Tuesday in Florida. It's always something popping off like
Let's
that.
see, hold on. Florida man accused of killing neighbor whose cat, and it stops after that. Florida man arrested for tripping over pants. Florida man allegedly, okay. Florida man headlines that made a meme what it is. Naked Florida man starts house fire while baking cookies. And it stops after that. Yeah. So that's fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's fun. So, what do you think of this whole NFL free agency cycle? It's been pretty crazy. Like last week was pretty insane as far as that goes.
Yeah. With Rodgers re-signs, Adams then is going to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Brady unretires. I missed a bunch of it, but yeah, it was something popping off every day for a while. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, dang, man, this whole Deshaun Watson thing was crazy.
Yeah. As
and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, after Rodgers gets paid, are they going to pay him because he he was franchised, and no, we'll just go ahead and send you to Las Vegas after we throw the bank at Rodgers. So now you don't have anybody to throw to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did Rodgers say anything about it? Because they've been not on the same page for a while up there, him and the organization.
Yeah. Probably not. I don't know. Who knows? Aaron's getting like $200 million, so he don't care.
Right at 37.
But now that they lost Devontae Adams, it just makes him easy to root against.
Makes Aaron easy to root against.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And like a lot of people keep saying, you keep trying to have this high-powered offense when you play in the frozen tundra. You're just not really successful throwing the ball all around the yard in January up there. You scored 10 points against the 49ers.
Exactly.
You're MVP, and you scored 10 points. And what you played them in San Francisco and lost, and your post-game presser is like, yeah, we got to get one of these at home. We got to get one of these NFC Championship games at home. Well, you were at home, and they held you to 10 points. Yeah. And you're trying to throw a frozen football around and 10 below, and you just pound it. And the 49ers just went up there and physical jaw to death.
Mm-hmm.
You got a dose of Debo, got a dose of that defense. And y'all are up there trying to throw it around, and it's just. And it's almost the definition of insanity because they're going to try to do it again and probably get bounced again, even if they have home field to begin with.
Exactly. So, Stephen Willis is not going to like hearing this, but Arch Manning loved his visit to UGA. Just want to throw that out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm just going to let that one marinate for a while. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did Tennessee get a QB commit today? They were like, we're not worried about Arch now.
They did.
All of a sudden now they're not worried.
All of a sudden, right. Yeah. I mean, Arch is the best quarterback in this entire thing by a mile.
It's like if he had committed to Tennessee and then decommitted, oh, we don't need him. We never want him. He wasn't no good. It's like the same thing. Now that they have somebody,
right.
It's like, oh, we don't. People are crazy, man.
No, I'm with you there.
The rationale.
I can't. The rationale is baffling.
Spin it however you need to do to feel good about yourself.
Yep, baffling. Yep, I know, right? So, but that's gonna just about do it for this episode. I think we'll have a lot to talk about next week. Hopefully, Arkansas will still be standing after next week. That will mean they're in the Final Four.
Hold it down for the conference.
The next time we see you, Arkansas could we could be back in the Final Four since the days of Nolan Richardson in the 40 Minutes of Hell.
Yeah, because they hadn't done anything in a tournament for 20 years. Like, they've done nothing.
Right. So
this is Arkansas we're talking about, who was, when they first came into the SEC, was a power. It was them and Kentucky going toe to toe. You know, they won a title in 95, Kentucky or 94. Kentucky won in 96. So yeah, for them to have a stretch where they had no tournament of any kind, no action, and now they're holding it down for the conference now.
That's right.
Yeah, the last hope.
Yep, that's right. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You got to keep it going. You got to keep it alive. But
Musselman's a good coach. Got to give it to him.
That's right. So that's going to do it for us, Vinny. Are you hosting any games on Ravon next week or this week?
I don't know. I need to see about getting in there.
I might sign up for the Arkansas game.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a fun one to do.
Yeah, I did a little video, send it in because so I did do that. I might jump in there and host or interact or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, I'll probably just jump in there and interact with some of those games. Just just to be around. I think the idea of, like, because all of us just kind of hosting each other's stuff, like just getting in on each other's stuff, is actually pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I'll get back in there this week. After.
I feel you.
Just shocked.
You and Britt. I mean, you're licking your wounds, but you're okay now.
Yeah, I'll jump in there for the, Sweet 16, Elite 8 stuff, and try to hop back in there. But had them both on Bleav in Kentucky. Her and James, the co-founders.
That's right. I was getting ready to say that. I was getting ready to alert the world. So if you want to hear what the co-founders of one of the new up-and-coming apps, Ravon Sports, go check out Bleav in Kentucky with Vinny and had them on. So we hope you have a great week. We hope your brackets are better than mine, which probably isn't difficult, but we hope it's better than mine. And we'll see you back here next week on Beast of the East on the Beast of the East podcast on the Bleav Network, also on the Y'all's Conference Network. We'll see you back here next week. For Vinny Hardy, I'm Corey Burton. Peace out.
See y'all later.